see, there's a pond near here. I think it's called Fresh Pond. And in this pond, there is a frog named Frank. Now, Frank is an unusual frog because he's a confirmed bachelor. He's never been married and never wanted to be married. And you can hear him in the pond singing, I'm a bachelor, a bachelor, a bachelor. Well, one day, Frank, he decided to take a little risk. And he jumped higher than he'd ever jumped before. And he landed way on the other side of the pond. He landed right in Miss Jezebel Greenleg's front living room. Oh, she was pretty. Oh, she was pretty. She had green, slimy legs and dark eyes. And the best thing about Miss Jezebel Greenlegs, she could whip up a fried fly omelet like no one else. And he said, you know what? This is good. And she said, one day, Frank, I'm going to marry you. And he said, because I'm a what? A bachelor, a bachelor, a bachelor. But he said, you know what? Every day I'm going to come here for breakfast. And then he jumped higher than he'd ever jumped before, and he went to the other side of the pond, and he met Miss Lily Toadstool. Oh, she was pretty. She had black eyes like a midnight sky, and she could make fried fly stew like no one else. But the best thing about Miss Lily Toadstool was she could burp really good. Well, he spent his time going between breakfast and dinner and breakfast. And his mom said, Frank, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to be up a tree one day if you don't watch yourself. If those two gals ever find out about this, you're in big trouble. And he said, am not. Well, one day, a fog came in as thick as green pea soup. Why, you couldn't tell if it was morning or night. He didn't know whether to go to Miss Jezebel's or Miss Lily's. So he did what any self-respecting frog would do in that situation. He stayed put. And then there was a knock on the back door. And he froze for a minute, and then he hopped on over. He hopped on over, and he looked out, and it was Miss Lily. And she was bringing fried fly stew. And he was about to open the door when he heard a knock on the other door. And he froze. But he was curious, and he hopped on over, and he looked, and there was Miss Jezebel with breakfast. And his mother's words were rolling around in his ears. Frank, if those two gals ever find out about each other, you're going to be up a tree. So he took his mother's advice, and he got down as low as he could. And he jumped higher than he'd ever jumped before, way up into a tree. And some people say that's where old gray tree frogs come from, because Frank never came down. And he's got a few who have joined him. Have you ever heard the frogs at Fresh Pond? The ones up in the tree? I wonder if they're all bachelors. Who knows? Thank you.